This video we are going to talk about Serde. Serde is a library in Rust for serializing and deserializing Rust data structures. Um, yeah, let's look into the program. So we need to import Serde and Serde derive. And if you are going to work with JSON files, probably you would need to import Serde JSON as well. These are the three libraries we need uh, for starting this Serde program. So uh, let's um, let's start with um, comment all this and this one too. Yeah. So now if you look at the program, it's very pretty basic. We have a point structure which has two fields x and y, and we are implementing a new function for initializing the point structure, and we are just calling that new function for the point. So this should be pretty straightforward and simple. Now we want to serialize this point structure and send to a different system. Suppose if you need to send this to a different system and the other system need to deserialize it, how we can do that? For that, the Serde is going to help us. So we just derive serialize and deserialize trait uh, for this point structure. So if you do that, yeah, it will throw cannot find deserialize and serialize. So let's use this. So this will solve our problem. Now if we cargo expand it and we can direct that to a.rs. So we have a.rs here. You can see lot of code generated. So where is the main is here. Main is as same as that. For implementation of point also same, and debug got expanded like this. Debug trait, derive on debug trait. It's actually implemented debug trait on point. Formatting, yeah, this way. That's good. It's calling debug struct field to finish. Okay. We are going to concentrate on this one. So before that, yeah, we are going to concentrate on serialize and deserialize. So it's actually implementing the serialized trait on point, and it's defining a function with serializer. So what is serializer? It's another trait, and that trait need to implement yeah whatever passing serializer. Let's go to this model. So serialization half of survey data model is defined by serializer. So serializer should have these types. and it should define these uh, methods. That's what serializer. So looking at this code, okay, and what is serialize? Serialize is another trait which has a single function, which is getting the parameter as not method, and it has a parameter serializer. So serializer is what we have seen here. It should have these functions. So having said that, so we know that we need to implement serialize for point. For that, we need to define a serialize function and need to serialize method because it's getting ampersand self, and we need to have a parameter serializer, and we put it as underscore underscore s. That is what they given, cargo has given. So, and it's actually matching if Serde state, it's match serialize struct, and it's passing serializer. Oh, it's actually yeah, it's actually identified this is a struct and calling the respective functions. Serialized struct is here, serialized struct, yeah, here type serialized struct, where is it? Here. It's actually implementing this function since it's a structure, and if it's matches, oh, it's calling this, and if it's match, yeah, if it's match, then it's returning, it's going inside this okay val as the value whatever we got here, and if there is an error, it's returning error. Okay, well and good. And again struct serialize field, it's again serializing this. Oh, it's actually got what we defined here. It's identified point is a struct, so it's calling point with struct serializer, and it's calling x as a field, struct field, so calling struct x with serialized field, and it will call y also with serialized field and returning that. So that is what serialize implementation is. And this is the deserialize. So deserialize for there is a time lifetime also here. We call it as dot or tag d point. It's implementing for point. Uh, yeah, and yeah, what is deserialize, right? So if you look at here, deserialize, it's another trait which has to define deserialize, and we should pass deserializer. So deserializer should have these methods. So we'll see what it has defined here. Deserialize D, a deserializer, only one parameter. Yeah, where Serde deserializer, and it's defined field, enum field. So field 0, field 1, and ignore. Three fields it has defined, and a struct field visitor, it's created a visitor struct, a unit field visitor struct, and it's implementing Serde de visitor for this field visitor and type value as field, and fn result expecting is returning the result, and is calling a write string field identifier, and it's this is the I think x part, and value part is visitor u64. Yeah, value, it's matching the value on u64, and returning field 0, field 1, and ignore. Three of things matching. Again, visit str, visit bytes. This is for okay. Again, deserialize implementation for field. This is for field visitor, and what is visitor? It's implementing. It's defining visitor here, and it's implementing visitor. We need to see what is visitor. There's a trait as well. Visitor. Visitor. Yeah, visitor is a trait, and has to define this function. First, expecting is a mandatory method. Rest of them are not mandatory, I think. But serializer, how was the serializer? Was it mandatory serialize? Serializer? These, I don't know, all these fields needs to be defined, or only one is enough. Uh, in our code, it's generated only one in whatever required. Whatever required only it's called. Nice. Okay, we'll see that. Deserialize, it's visitor and all coming in, and visitor u64, visitor str implementing, calling for x and y, field 0. Yeah, it's defining field 0 and 1. Okay. From the struct, it identified the fields and it's generated the values deserialization accordingly. And what it is returning? Private okay, it's an okay thing. This field 0. Field serious field. Yeah, it's returning a result. Pupil struct field. But it's not calling serial value. It's calling visitor str. See what is visitor visit str. visit str is a function which accepts a ampersand str and return a self value. You- Value produced by this visitor. Oh, value is a type in the visitor, right? Yeah, visitor can produce only value. Any function is returning result of value, basically. Okay, so it's a result, the value. You can be, what is this? You visitor str. Visit, visit str, visit str. Yeah, here input contain this. The input contains a string. The lifetime of the string is ephemeral, ephemeral, and it may be destroyed after this method returns. This method allows deserialize to avoid a copy by returning ownership of any buffered data. Deserialize implementation that do not benefit from taking ownership of string data and should indicate that to deserializer by using deserialize underscore str rather than deserialize underscore string. It is never correct to implement visit string without implementing visit str. Implement neither, both, or just visit str. Okay, visit str implemented. Visit bytes implemented. For what? You're passing ampersand u8. Oh, it's actually calling all the methods. So we can from str, from bytes, all these things can be called. Okay, if I called, it's implementing everything. If I just okay, now we can try serialize and deserialize. Okay, first we will try with the value. Value value is not defined. We'll quickly fix that. So we need JSON value. So I'll delete this. Okay. Now if I run, it will the struct will be serialized to a string and again deserialized to a value. Value is a JSON value type. So if I go to Serde, Serde JSON value, yeah, yeah, JSON value is this null boolean number string array object, can be any of these enum types. It's built using this macro, but from string also, is it there? String from str, from str is actually building result t can be deserialized. So value, if it's returning anything which it should implement deserialize implement value gets, yeah, it's implement deserialize for value. That's the reason we are getting this type value from str. So it's serializing the string, and from string we are getting the value type again. So we will cargo run this, see what is happening. So we printed serialized one string, which is this part, and the value we deserialized is this object. It's a number 40 and number 30. How we are getting it? We are getting it from this value number. Number can be an integer, I think. Yeah, integer will be converted to number. So that's what happening. Now let's see one more thing. I want to change this to point. Then it will be deserialized to respective point structure. So I will try to debug this also. See, now we got the point structure. Now let's see whether we can let this put a debug point here and start debugging. Yes. And yeah, this should be, let's see if I again run. Yeah, it's running and it's here in debug mode. Point structure I think is not initialized. Let's see. What happens. Oh, exited. Process exited with exit 0. Start debugging. Let's put a debug point here too and step over. Oh, directly reached here. Hmm. Oh, step over or okay. Let's see what is point serialized. We got 40 and 30. Okay, that's a string. Agree. What is deserialized? It's not created. It's actually created. Okay. I'm not sure. Let's try one more time. Yeah. Start debugging. Step into. Okay, it's going into this new function. This is somewhat clearer now. X and third X 40, Y 30 initialized. It's coming over here. It's going here. Going into our toString. This is not something I built. This is the toString function in Serde JSON, I think. So step into to back. This is what I don't like. Going to some assembly kind of code. That it error. Skip over. It's reached here, but I don't like this debugging. Okay, into. Oh, again, it's going this. Okay. Yeah, serialized is X and 40. See with this, from string I want to go inside basically. Oh, it's going to assembly code. Insert a JSON. Okay, enter. Okay, I think leave it. We'll come back to this program and let's go back to this. We don't want to derive it. We just want to see how actually Serde implemented this. So if we have some format of data and want to serialize, basically what you can do is you need to implement a serialized trait, right? That's what we have seen before. And we know that the serialize trait has a serialize method and it should accept a serializer and it should return a as OK. So for that, we know that it's a serialize struct. Oh, this implementation will be difficult, but let's give it a try. Serialize struct, and this one, it should have self, name, and length. So let us define. Let's try this. Otherwise, we will change the struct to tuple. We will try with this example. Let's see whether we can implement this struct itself. So what is the syntax? Name. Name should be that point. Oh, self. It should be self. Self, comma, point, comma. Length is number of fields is 2, I believe. Let's see it can do this. It's not accepting. Oh, it's accepted only 2 parameters. Oh, it's calling. So self is not needed. It's calling thing. So name and length would be enough. Okay, so this is done. One part is done. And next thing is, this is not a tuple, we call it a struct. As st. Let's see whether this works or not. And struct dot serialize. Oh, it's not serialize element, it should be serialize. Serialize, I think struct field or something. Okay, one way to check that is, let's see what actually this a.rs has created, right? Serde struct is calling, and serialize field, serialize field. Okay, I think they have given a, yeah, but I'm not seeing this. This is what we are doing, this, and serialize field, serialize field, so thing, serialize field. We'll see where is that third is, but, and the first field is x. We'll give x comma, and second field is ampersand r dot x, and this is y comma ampersand self dot y. If we can serialize these things in without error, we can run these functions, then I think it is actually serializing it correctly. Implement serialize, expect rate, found derive macro, serialize. Okay, now we need to import this. So that's the reason we need this thing. We don't have derive now. We will remove this derive. So now we have this serialize, and we will limit deserialization. We don't need deserialization because it's we need to implement that too. If we have time, we will see. Otherwise, let's stick with only serialize, right? So I'm removing the serialized thing. Let's do only serialized. This is not there. No method serialize field found on serializer. Serialize field, serialize field. It only. Oh, serialize struct. We need to implement serialize struct. Okay, yeah. The serialize struct is the one. Sir, serialize serialized struct. Okay. Hmm. It's a trait with OK and error, and you have serialized field. If you give methods ampersand mute self with a string and a value, I need to have fn end, fn skip field on this. Where we are deriving this thing, and since this, oh, okay, I think I didn't put question mark. I put serialized struct. Okay, serialized element is not there. That's true. Field should be there. Okay, so now I am serializing this. Oh, since I have serialized struct, it's easy to serialize a structure. Yeah, you have a structure, and if you have this trait, this trait function serialize dot serialize struct. Oh, if you okay, serializer serializer will return a serialized struct. Where is that serialized struct? See, yeah, it's returning a serialized struct. It's returning a serialized struct, and serialized struct has the serialize field method. So if you have a structure, it's pretty easy. Looks like we need to call this serialized struct on the structure, and whatever return from there, it will be a serialized struct trait. We can call serialize field on them with the field and value that should serialize it. So having said that, if you still run it, we should still get the serialized value string. Let's see. Now we are not using derive. Cargo run. Yeah, it's still printing x40, y40, y30, that string. So basically you serialized it without using the derive thing. We implemented our own serialized trait for point. That's cool. So you don't need to follow this. Most of the time you can just derive it. But if you have something your own way, if you need to serialize, you can use this methods. Yeah, I think that's all I need to cover in this video. We will look at deserialize and deserializer in some other video. Thank you for watching this video. We'll see you in the next one.